After 40 years of marriage, I only found out after my powerful executive husband died that he harbored a secret love for someone else. Considering he had treated me reasonably well during his life, the first thing I did after rebirth was transfer to his school and help him chase the girl he loved. I tried everything, cheering him on, setting them up, creating romantic opportunities, and even a duo performance for the school anniversary. Finally, Marcus's birthday was approaching. I prepared flowers and candles for him to confess his feelings to the girl he had loved for years. However, just as Chloe was about to arrive, Marcus cornered me in the restroom. He lowered his head, his eyes bloodshot, and kissed me while asking, "Luna, when are you going to realize that I'm in love with you?" Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you are listening from. The first thing I did after waking up reborn was rush outside to see if the neighbors were still there. When I saw 15-year-old Marcus get into his Cullinan, carrying his backpack, I let out a long sigh. It was true, I had been reborn, back to my dismal, uneventful teenage years. Before I could fully process it, I heard Brenda's disgusted voice. "Why are you running around like a ghost so early in the morning? You look like death, how unlucky. Go change your clothes, you're an eyesore." She had never liked me. From the time my grandparents died when I was 5 and I returned to the family, until the family went bankrupt, she and Robert took Ryan and ran, leaving me to face the creditors alone. I never understood why Brenda, also a woman, could have such a gender bias favoring sons. That's why, even after many years of marriage, my self-worth remained very low. It was Marcus who painstakingly taught me, praising my strengths, and leading me to break free from my dysfunctional family issues, helping me find a better version of myself. We had 2 children, and our relations was neither good nor bad. We just lived a detached life. After he passed away from his illness, our daughter was sorting through his belongings and discovered he had the one he always loved in high school. They had done countless romantic things together. But young people are stubborn. One thought he would stay, the other thought she wouldn't leave, and they ended up drifting apart. When died, I was right beside him. He didn't spare me a glance, only gazed silently out the window. He whispered, "Chloe, Chloe." Then he took his last breath. Looking at this husband who was my mentor, my friend, and a man of routine his entire life, my heart ached for him as if pierced by needles. Now that I had the rare opportunity for rebirth, I decided to help Marcus. The first thing to do was transfer to Northwood, where Marcus studied. Brenda immediately objected when she heard. "No, what about Ryan if you leave? He got into Northwood with you." "Oh, I forgot about that dead weight, his grades were absolutely terrible." I looked at Brenda calmly. "Let him stay at Northwood. I'm going to Southwood not just to get good grades, but more importantly, there are many rich kids there. Do you see the mansion next door? Marcus, the only son of Vance, goes to Southwood. If we go to school together, we'll be classmates. If you can't bear to let him go, he can help out with the family business. Isn't that better than both of you being stuck at Northwood?" My voice was neither humble nor arrogant, but Brenda didn't listen. It didn't matter, I wasn't saying it for her benefit anyway. Sure enough, just as Brenda was about to object, Robert cleared his throat from the head of the table. "Luna has thought this through very well. Let's do it." In the end, it was Robert who made the final decision regarding family matters. And so, under Brenda's resentful gaze, I successfully transferred to Southwood. Marcus was in the top-tier A class, so I followed him there. On my first day of school, I potted him in the center seat. 15-year-old Marcus hadn't yet developed the indifferent, decisive air of a powerful executive. His eyes exuded a youthful energy. Beside him, a girl with blushing cheeks was whispering. With just one glance, I guessed this girl was Chloe. I couldn't help but secretly observe her. She was very pretty, with delicate features and long, waist-length hair that made her seem well-behaved and gentle. Her voice was soft, with a faint nasal quality, like an exquisite porcelain doll. So, Marcus liked this type, how fascinating. I instinctively ruffled my choppy short hair. Brenda had cut it with scissors because she complained about my hair loss. Then I plunked down behind Marcus and Chloe. I greeted them. "Hi, everyone, I'm the new transfer student, Luna." Marcus didn't even turn his head, coolly working on a test. Chloe, however, gave me a polite smile. "Hello, my name is Chloe." After class, I asked around and learned that Chloe was indeed a born heroine straight out of a novel. From a poor background, she was self-reliant and strong, earning scholarships to get into Southwood and always staying neck and neck with Marcus in academics. Because they both had good grades, they often discussed problems together. Their classmates crowned them the golden couple. I recalled what Marcus wrote in his teenage diary: "Chloe is the most diligent and hardworking girl I've ever met. Her experiences make my heart ache for him." Perhaps it was Marcus's daily interactions, learning about Chloe's circumstances, that made him fall for her. As for why they broke up, I had actually heard Eleanor mention it. It was simply that Chloe felt she wasn't good enough for Marcus and stubbornly, out of spite, said she didn't like him. Marcus, with his proud spirit, felt heartbroken after being rejected repeatedly and went to study abroad. Only after returning did he discover Chloe was already married, and I eventually ended up with him, living a life together. When and I were married, he was actually quite amiable. He conducted himself as expected, taught the children, and fulfilled his marital duties, without exception. So, from beginning to end, I never thought Marcus didn't like me. It wasn't until his death that I understood the subtle hurt beneath it all. How could I not regret it? Such a vibrant, passionate love, missed in a rush due to a moment of impulsiveness. If only I had tried harder, perhaps I wouldn't have had to numbly stay with someone who didn't love me. I sighed deeply, listening to the teacher's lecture while twirling the pen in my hand. Chloe turned and saw me, exclaiming, "Oh, Luna, you can do that too." "What?" "Pen spinning. Marcus is amazing at it." I instinctively looked up and found him looking at me too. Damn it, after a lifetime together as husband and wife, I had indeed picked up that habit from him. I coughed softly. "Oh, well, maybe it's just a common trait among high achievers." "Chloe." Thankfully, Marcus only glanced at me and said nothing more. After school, on my way home, my mind was still racing about how to speed things up. I accidentally walked too close to the road and a car honked at me. I turned and saw the driver, raising an eyebrow. "Uncle?" Uncle looked confused. "Little girl, do I know you?" I pressed my lips together, feeling like a sieve. "No, I'm sorry, I mistook you for someone else." I hurried away. In my haste, I didn't see Marcus's sharp gaze fixed on me from behind. After getting in the car, he asked, "Uncle, do you know her?" Uncle shook his head. "No, I don't." Marcus said nothing more, his mind replaying the inexplicable surge of emotion he felt the first time he saw Luna. When I got home, they had already finished eating. There was a little bit of soup and minced meat left in the kitchen. I mixed it in a bowl and took it to the garden to eat. Eating in the garden was a habit I developed later when I was nursing Marcus. He said it was stuffy inside and wanted to look outside, so I kept him company. Over time, it just became a habit. I ate the leftovers in small bites, not having much of an appetite. I felt I couldn't passively only consider Marcus's affairs. Since I knew the family would go bankrupt and my parents would abandon me, I needed to plan for myself. Actually, my grandmother had left me a sum of money, and I knew the password, but the card was still with Brenda. I had to find a way to get the card and transfer the money into my name. Secondly, my grades weren't outstanding, so after Marcus and Chloe got together, I also needed to think about my future. Thanks to helping Marcus manage company business for over a decade, I had an impression of several companies with good future development prospects. I needed to quickly convert the money I had into company shares so that when the family went bankrupt, I wouldn't be implicated. With everything slowly thought out, I finished my meal. I stood up and unintentionally saw someone standing on the opposite balcony. It was Marcus. It was strange. I had been his neighbor for a few years back then, too. After went abroad, the family moved away. During that time, we almost never greeted each other or even met. But after rebirth, we kept encountering each other like this. He seemed to be looking at me, and I couldn't pretend not to see him, so I just quietly waved. Marcus looked at me for a while, then turned and went inside. "Humph, acting all cool. I've seen you without clothes, you know." Annoyed, I returned to the kitchen to put away the dishes. The next day, as I was leaving for school, Marcus's driver honked beside me. I turned, and Marcus said, "Get in, we'll go together." "All right, no need to be polite." After getting in, I saw him working on a test paper. I marveled, "Why are you still so diligent?" "Marcus?" ? "Nothing, I just feel like you're like a cranky old man at such a young age, with only studies in your eyes, missing out on many beautiful things." He curled his lips. Such as? Such as the lovely classmates around you, the gentle teachers, and the flowers, plants, and small animals. So cute. Marcus looked at me silently for a moment. "Are you implying? This guy? No wonder he missed out on Chloe." I rolled my eyes. "I'm telling you to pay more attention to the people around you, buddy." "Oh. Good news," Marcus listened to me. "Bad news, he thought I meant him to pay more attention to me." When, for the nth time, he turned to watch me doing my homework after class, I couldn't help but sigh. Marcus. Chloe just spoke to you, you should respond to her properly. He said. I did. The problem is, you responded very coldly, you should be more enthusiastic. To avoid a chase gone wrong scenario, I lectured him emphatically, you can't be perfunctory with girls. You have to be enthusiastic and proactive. If you like her, you have to try hard to pursue her, that way she won't run away. Marcus stared at me steadily for a while. Who do I like? Pretending. Still pretending with me. If it weren't for your diary being full of tearful confessions, I wouldn't bother with any of this. I took a deep breath, just about to speak, when I saw Chloe, her face red, hand him a boba tea. Marcus, thank you for helping me with the problems last time. This is a thank you gift. Marcus took it with one hand. You're welcome. He casually placed the boba tea aside. Seeing his disappointed look, I immediately clicked my tongue. Marcus, don't you get it? When a girl gives you something, you should taste it right away. Come on, taste it and see if it's good. Don't waste Chloe's kind gesture. Marcus. He had no choice but to take a sip of the boba tea, then frowned. Too sweet. I said, you still have to drink it, Chloe gave it to you. Marcus glanced at me. Oh. He silently gulped it down in a few sips. Then he told Chloe, thank you. Chloe's expression was a bit stiff. She looked at me, then at Marcus, and said nothing. My heart was so conflicted, I just felt like something wasn't quite right. This strange feeling continued until the teacher handed out homework that afternoon. My deskmate, Finn, leaned over and exclaimed, wow, your handwriting looks just like Marcus's. At his shout, Marcus and Chloe both turned to look. I keenly noticed a hint of disappointment in Chloe's expression. I instinctively kicked Finn. Nonsense, all handwriting looks similar. How is it alike? In fact, it was very similar. Len and I worked together later, even the secretaries said they couldn't distinguish our signatures. Finn groaned, succumbing to my violence, not daring to say more. He lay back down to sleep, and I gazed out the window, lost in thought. Girls' Day was in 2 days. According to school tradition, boys could give girls roses. Although it wasn't detailed in the diary, I vaguely remembered that Marcus gave Chloe a white rose on this day. It was this flower that made Chloe understand his feelings and fall into inner turmoil. In her mind, there was too great a gap between her and Marcus, and being together would involve too many practical problems. Because of this, she ignored Marcus for a while, leaving him with his heart in a flutter. So, this time, after Chloe received the flower, I planned to have a good talk with her. If she was willing, I could even help her make money to close the economic gap between them. That way, the two of them would be a sure thing. But on Girls' Day, as soon as I stepped into the classroom that morning, I saw a white rose on my desk. Even though I knew it was impossible, my heart still skipped a beat. Who sent this? I did. Finn walked over, grinning. Do you like it? Looking at his young and vibrant face, I couldn't help but lick the inside of my cheek. It wouldn't be entirely out of the question, right? After all, Marcus was going to be with Chloe, and it wouldn't be too much to find a new boyfriend, would it? I sauntered over, watching Finn's carefree face gradually flush red. He stammered, why? Why are you looking at me like that? No reason, you just look handsome. His face flushed a deep red. Quite cute, actually. Just as I was about to continue speaking, I heard a bang behind me. Marcus, with a dark expression, slammed his books onto the desk, making a loud noise. What's wrong? Nothing. Marcus glared at me, gritting his teeth, which left me confused. After entered the classroom, a long time passed, and he still didn't take out a flower. I couldn't help but lean over when no one was around. Marcus. Aren't you giving her a flower? His sharp gaze scraped across my face. Is that important? How is it not important? Chloe has clearly been waiting for you all morning. I was so angry I wanted to hit him, but then I dropped my fist. When I returned from the restroom, I found both Marcus and Chloe gone. On my desk lay a bouquet of white roses. The vibrant petals exuded a rich fragrance, making my temples throb. Which idiot sent flowers to the wrong desk? I put the roses back on Chloe's desk. When she returned and saw the flowers, her eyes reddened, as expected. She shyly looked at Marcus, but found his expression even more rigid. Marcus. Thank you for the flowers. Somehow, Marcus's voice sounded like it had a hint of hostility. I scratched my head. Could it be that I, having lived for 50 years, had a generation gap with young people, and they didn't appreciate this kind of romance? It seemed fate was helping, bringing an even better opportunity before me. Southwood's 50th anniversary was coming up, and student performances were needed. Our class drew a spot, and everyone was discussing what to perform. I immediately shouted, "Teacher, Marcus and Chloe could perform a duet of singing and piano. It would definitely be eye-catching." Marcus had been practicing piano for 10 years, and Chloe later became a singer and dancer with an excellent voice. Performing together, as a power couple, it would certainly be very romantic. The homeroom teacher hesitated, looking at Marcus, who almost never agreed to such performances. Unexpectedly, the next second, Marcus not only agreed but also said, "Teacher, a piano and vocal duet might be too simple for the anniversary. If we want to win an award, why not add a dance?" I remember Luna studied traditional dance for a few years, she could join us. This jerk, repaying kindness with enmity. "I'm helping you pursue the one you always loved, and you want to make me look foolish. That traditional dance was decades ago, could I even do it well?" Just as I was about to refuse, Finn next to me said, "Teacher, I can dance too. Luna and I can be their backup dancers." The homeroom teacher made the final decision, leaving me speechless and teary-eyed. After school, Chloe pulled us into rehearsal. "Luna, considering the difficulty of the choreography, we've chosen something with a classical touch. It will be simpler for you and Finn to dance as well, okay?" I was indifferent, whatever works. I only heard Marcus let out a cold snort, and for the next few days of rehearsal, he was always sullen and unhappy. At first, Finn and I tried to talk to him, but seeing him always making snide remarks, we eventually stopped. Whenever he and Chloe practiced their duet, Finn and I would stealthily exchange moves in the corner. It must have been bad luck, but the day before the school anniversary, Finn twisted his ankle going downstairs. The four-person act eventually became a two-person duet. On the night of the performance, Marcus wore a suit, and Chloe's hair was softly curled. Under the warm yellow lights, they looked incredibly well-matched. Even the teacher next door sighed, "It's a shame these two aren't together." Finn, who was sitting next to me, said, "Luna. Actually, you're prettier than Chloe." This kid, his words are so sweet. I playfully glared at him. On stage, Marcus saw us, and his heart trembled. The next second, he hit a wrong note on the piano. It was a tiny flaw, only Chloe noticed. She subtly glanced at him, then followed his gaze to find Luna in the audience. Chloe couldn't quite describe the feeling, it was like being scratched by a kitten. A burning pain mixed with profound hurt. Marcus and Chloe still won first place. Back in the classroom, the homeroom teacher led the students in applauding them. The beautiful couple stood together, a truly pleasant sight. Finn and I watched silently from below the stage when he suddenly nudged me with his elbow. "Luna. Do you like Marcus?" Why would you think that?" Finn shrugged, "I don't know, I just have a strange feeling, there's a strange vibe between you two. This kid, he's quite perceptive. How could anyone not like Marcus? He was so outstanding." I still remember being hounded by creditors until I couldn't bear to live, sitting in the park, contemplating suicide, when I met Marcus. He stood steadily before me and said, "I know you, you're the Evans family daughter. Your family went bankrupt. If you don't mind, I can marry you, be my wife." I couldn't describe what I felt at that moment, only that he was like a divine intervention. I agreed without a second thought, not even daring to ask how he knew me. For 40 years of marriage, whenever I thought of him saving my life, I didn't want to dwell on it. I gave Marcus whatever he wanted and compensated him for whatever he lacked. I expended all my energy, just to make him happy, only to find out at his death that he was unhappy. I wasted that entire life. So, in this second life, I thought of nothing else. Marcus loved Chloe, and I would do everything I could to help him get what he wanted. Now, looking at the vaguely intimate couple on stage, I figured my plan was about to succeed. It wasn't that I wasn't sad, after all, we had been together for 40 years, and letting go of something precious wasn't easy. But the thought of Marcus being truly PPY afterward filled me with uncontrollable relief. It was wonderful. At least this time, he wouldn't have any regrets. Soon, Marcus's birthday was approaching, and Chloe found me, saying she wanted to confess her feelings to Marcus. Looking at the stubborn and independent girl before me, I felt mixed feelings. "How can I help you?" Chloe said, "I want to ask you to help me set up the confession venue." This was undoubtedly stabbing me in the heart. And I couldn't show the pain. The closer I got to complete success, the more I had to pretend as if nothing was wrong. To ensure they had an unforgettable memory, I paid out of my own pocket to move Chloe's venue to a more luxurious hotel. The rooftop garden in the city center was filled with white roses. Pink candles were arranged into a heart shape, waiting for the girl to stand in the center. I had spent an entire night arranging everything. By the time I finished arranging the last bouquet, I was dizzy and confused. With the last bit of energy, I called Finn, asking him to help invite the main characters and classmates over. I, meanwhile, went to the restroom to wash my face, planning to go home and sleep afterward. But as soon as I came out of the inner stall, someone pulled me to the stairwell. The person emanated heat from his body, he had clearly just run there. I looked up, falling into a pair of turbulent eyes. Marcus? It's me. Why are you here? No, shouldn't he be in the garden? I was about to point behind me and tell him he had the wrong place, but the next second, he grabbed my neck. Luna, what are you doing? Helping confess to you. Why are you helping her? Aren't you two in love? His hot lips silenced me, and the next second, I suddenly realized what Marcus was doing. You're crazy. My hands were pinned above my head, and Marcus wrapped his arms around my waist, pulling me close. A very familiar, yet more hormonal scent, came over me, effortlessly making my heart flutter. Unconsciously, I tilted my head back and began to respond. Marcus felt my movements and became even more excited. He slipped my hand under his shirt, kissing with audible sounds. I don't know how long passed, but our lips finally parted. A fine silver thread connecting our lips was licked away by Marcus, and he whispered, Luna, when are you going to realize that I'm in love with you? My mind exploded, and I stood there stunned. The next second, I fainted. I had a fever, having been out in the wind all night, and was a bit delirious. In a haze, I seemed to hear someone talking. When do you think she'll wake up? I don't know, but situations like this in the mid to late stages of Alzheimer's disease only get worse. You need to be mentally prepared. I understand. I slowly opened my eyes and saw an elderly Marcus standing by my bed. I propped myself up and called out, Marcus. Only then did I realize my voice was terribly hoarse. He quickly hung up the phone and came over to me. What's wrong? Are you uncomfortable somewhere? I shook my head. No. Not uncomfortable, just a bit dazed. How did everyone around me get old after I fainted? And, wasn't he dead? How did he come back to life? So, did my matchmaking work out? Did and Chloe get together? I pursed my lips, cautiously speaking, Chloe. Before I could even form a sentence, the door opened. Chloe, also with graying hair and wearing a lab coat, walked in. Luna, how are you feeling today? I said, still okay, eating and sleeping fine. Chloe gave Marcus a look, and Marcus followed her out. Seeing them leave, I quickly searched for clues, trying to figure out what was going on. I found nothing, only a diary on the bedside table. Oh, Marcus, how could he leave this lying around? I casually flipped to a page, which read, if only I had known our time together would be so short, I would have cherished every moment. The handwriting was still faintly damp. Wanting to look further back, Marcus returned. He stroked my cheek, looking at me gently. Do you want to go home? I nodded blankly. Okay, let's go home. Actually, I didn't know which home he meant, but I was afraid Marcus would notice something was off, so I just silently followed behind him. The driver who came to pick me up was unfamiliar. After getting in the car, I looked at Marcus. Where's Uncle? He paused. Uncle retired. His grandson is driving now. Oh, so we were really this old. Back home, a crowd of people, young and old, stood around. Some called me Brenda, others called me Grandma. I didn't recognize any of them, but still had to politely greet them. It was strange. Before rebirth, I clearly had a younger generation, but now I couldn't remember a single one. It seemed that when people got old, their brains really weren't working anymore. After returning to the bedroom, Marcus followed me, helping me onto the bed and then lying down beside me. Are the kids okay with you like this? It's fine, this is their home too. I sighed, but still couldn't help myself. Marcus. Why didn't you end up with Chloe? Marcus let out a helpless sigh. Why would I be with Chloe? I don't even like her. Besides, it's been decades, why don't you understand my feelings yet? The hurt in his tone made my heart ache for him, and I quietly leaned closer. I'm sorry, my brain isn't working well, I can't remember. I couldn't tell what was happening, what had happened between Marcus and me. He stroked my hair over and over, then kissed my forehead. It's okay, Luna, I'm right here. Amidst his soft whispers, I drifted off to sleep, falling into an endless dream. When I opened my eyes again, 15-year-old Marcus was sitting beside me, stroking my hair. His eyes were filled with tenderness. Seeing me dazed, he leaned in and kissed me. Awake? Yes. What was going on? Wasn't I old? Before I could fully recover, my phone rang. Chloe's desperate cries came through. Luna, you're shameless. I clearly told you I was going to confess to Marcus, and you snatched him away midway. I was speechless, I'd forgotten about that part. Just as I was thinking of an explanation, Marcus grabbed the phone. Hello, Chloe, it's me. I have never liked you. My feelings for you only have platonic feelings. Luna is my girlfriend now. Please speak respectfully from now on. I stared blankly as he put the phone back in my pocket, then comforted me to lie down. A dream, this must be a dream. I lay back down and continued to sleep. After a few more hours, I found myself still at Marcus's house. This really couldn't go on. I forced myself up and said I needed to go home. Marcus handed me my jacket, looking at me. Luna, you're going to take responsibility for me, right? Huh? You've already kissed me, you have to take responsibility for me. From now on, you're my girlfriend. Huh? No huss. If you huh again, I'll kiss you. I was silently escorted back to the family home by Marcus. Brenda was waiting at the door, and when she saw Marcus, her lips curved into an unstoppable smile. Oh my, you must be a Vance family child. Hello. I'm Luna's mother. Our family even discussed business with your company once. Oh, right, Luna has a younger brother too, would you like to meet him? It was written all over her face, I want to curry favor with you. Marcus completely ignored Brenda's words, stroking my cheek. Sleep well. I'll pick you up for school tomorrow. Oh. Back home, Brenda had a sullen face. She wanted to yell at me but was wary of Marcus, so she could only give a non-committal grunt. What's the use of raising an ungrateful wretch like you? Your own mother is being bullied, and you don't even say a word. I didn't respond, but before going upstairs, I suddenly remembered something. Mom, can I have that card Grandma gave you? What for? I'm dating Marcus, so I need to buy him some gifts. As soon as she heard I had hooked a wealthy guy, Brenda forgot everything else and immediately returned the card to me. She would never have imagined that the seemingly humble and low-key grandmother had left me nearly 8-figure savings in that card. It was her life savings, taken by Brenda in my previous life to fill the family's financial hole, leaving me with no living expenses. Now, all that money was used by me to buy stocks in major companies, becoming my weapon for self-reliance. Going to school the next day, seeing Marcus felt strange. He instinctively reached for my hand, but I subtly avoided it. Marcus stared at me intently. Luna. Huh? Let me hold your hand, don't pull away. Oh. In 2 lifetimes, this was the first time I was being so romantic with my own husband. Marcus's palm was hot, with slightly sweaty hands. He held a book in one hand and intertwined his fingers with mine in the other. Marcus. Maybe let go for a bit, it's not convenient for you to read like this. He was silent for a moment, then tucked my hand under his shirt. Then touch my abs and lean on me for a nap. Was teenage Marcus this smooth? I couldn't help but squirmed a bit, the feeling was really nice. I leaned my head over, not noticing the person beneath me whose breathing suddenly deepened. After a while, Marcus closed his book. He pulled my hand out and continued holding it. Never mind, I'm not reading. I can't focus. Oh. We walked like that all the way to the classroom. Upon entering, I found Chloe had changed seats, moving next to Finn, and was hunched over her desk, her expression unclear. Looking at Marcus, who was completely unfazed beside me, I felt strangely guilty. Several times, I wanted to talk to Chloe privately and clear things up, but she always avoided me. Sometimes, I saw her huddling with a few classmates, whispering about something. After they finished talking and dispersed, those classmates looked at me with strange gazes. Gradually, I started to be isolated in class. Actually, at my age, I didn't care these things. But I didn't want to leave things ambiguous and muddled with Chloe. One day after school, I finally caught her at the intersection. Chloe was rushing to her part-time job and became impatient. What do you want? I want to explain about Marcus and me. What's there to explain, you backstabbing bitch? Believe it or not, I genuinely wanted to help you and Marcus at first. Chloe retorted angrily, oh, thank you so much. You helped me right into his bed. You're really something, don't help next time. I said, I'm sorry. Alright, I don't want to see you. Stay as far away from me as possible, and don't come near me in class anymore, you annoy me. I scratched my head. But I felt a pang of guilt and wanted to compensate you, is that okay? Chloe laughed in exasperation. How will you compensate me? Give me money? I said, yes, this card has $1 million. I earned it from stock trading recently, and it's all yours. Chloe. She was speechless. Luna, are you crazy? I bowed deeply in apology. I'm not crazy. I just want you to be happy, and I want Marcus to be happy. Marcus likes me now, so I'll be with him. If he falls in love with Chloe later, I'll step aside then. Chloe was speechless. She took the card and walked away. Marcus and I naturally got together. I had originally thought that after 40 years of married life, everything would be uneventful. I never expected teenage Marcus to be so romantic and passionate. We applied to colleges together, and we went to college together. In my junior year of college, my family went bankrupt as expected. Unfortunately, this time there was no money from me to fill the financial hole, and Brenda, Robert, and Ryan were hounded by creditors. They were constantly hiding and running. Brenda tried to contact me for money, but I changed my number every time she found it, until we completely lost contact. The day I heard the news that Brenda and Robert died by carbon monoxide poisoning, I was attending my graduation ceremony. My phone received the message, and my mind went blank. Actually, I didn't have much affection for them, but my hands couldn't stop trembling. Marcus was busy and couldn't leave, so he had Uncle drive me to that small town hundreds of miles away. When I arrived, the police had already removed the bodies, and I was needed to sign papers. I had just reached the intersection when a car lost control and sped towards us. Uncle was right beside me, and he suddenly pushed me away. My head hit the ground, and I felt dizzy. Uncle lay in a pool of blood. Meanwhile, my biological brother Ryan stumbled out of the car, crying and laughing, cursing me as a jinx, the culprit. When I woke up in the hospital, I saw Marcus, eyes bloodshot, leaning over my bed, his expression hundreds of times more intense than before. His hands trembling, he carefully stroked me. Luna, I almost lost you again. Again? I didn't understand. But I was too exhausted and fell into a deep sleep. When I woke up, I heard that Ryan had been arrested. He would face severe punishment for hitting and killing Uncle. The family compensated Uncle's family with a large sum of money, and my heart ached for him, so I added another payment out of my own pocket. After the funeral, on the way back, Marcus gently stroked my neck. He pulled me into his arms, his voice incredibly somber. Luna. You've been reborn, haven't you? Startled, I immediately sat up, looking at him in disbelief. I saw Marcus's clear eyes, now bearing deep traces of time. He leaned down and kissed the corner of my mouth. Actually, me too. Do you know? After I died, my soul didn't dissipate, it just hovered around you. At first, I didn't understand why, until you opened my diary and looked utterly devastated. That's when I realized I had regrets. I regretted that we'd been together for 40 years, yet I couldn't see my own feelings clearly. Only after I died did I realize how much I couldn't bear to lose you. Perhaps my obsession was too deep. I begged them for a long time, and they allowed me to be reborn into young Marcus. As soon as he said that, I got angry and pushed him away. That's nonsense. You clearly called out Chloe's name before you died. Marcus was speechless and choked up. I never called out her name. I was dazed then, and I vaguely saw you sitting in the park, contemplating suicide. I kept trying to stop you, calling Luna. Luna. Huh? He must be kidding, right? I gave him a suspicious look. Marcus returned a straightforward expression. Okay, well, he was dying, so it was reasonable for him to be disoriented. Then I remembered something else. What about that diary of yours? Can't a teenager have a crush? Besides, my first time was with you. I was young then and thought I liked her. After we got married, I just forgot all about it. I never expected that after being reborn, you'd actually try to set me up with her. I rubbed my nose, deciding not to dwell on the past. When did you come back? A few days ago, when I heard you were in a car accident. So that means my young love is gone? The here now is that old-fashioned man I spent a lifetime with. Is fate going to repeat itself? I felt dizzy and faint, then kindly reminded him, you've been reborn, wouldn't you want to try finding a different wife? What if Chloe is a better fit? Marcus shook his head. No, I only want you. Then he immediately sensed something was off. What, do you want a different husband? I nervously shrunk my neck. Well, to be honest, I did think about it before. After graduating from college, Marcus and I got married again. But unlike the low-key wedding of my previous life, this time he gave me a grand and unforgettable wedding. The stocks I bought multiplied countless times, and I became the wealthiest woman in Southwood. On our wedding day, Marcus was teased for being a kept man. He was non-committal, just shrugging with a smile, my stomach isn't great. Anyway, something softer is more comfortable. After we married, Marcus became an even more ideal husband. He had a never-ending stream of sweet talk and was always thinking of me, no matter where he went. We had 2 sons and 1 daughter, and soon our children married and had children of their own. In my 50s, I began to experience memory decline. Marcus took me to see a doctor, who said it was Alzheimer's disease triggered by the car accident. With good intervention, I could live for another decade or so. But clearly, I wasn't very lucky. The disease progressed much faster than others. By the age of 53, my mind became completely muddled. Marcus also resigned from the board of directors to focus on staying by my side. My memory had regressed to that of a 4 or 5-year-old. When I saw him, I'd ask, "Why isn't mommy coming to pick me up? Am I being naughty?" Marcus would soothe me, "No, sweetheart is very good." Then why did everyone abandon me? Because they had no conscience. I didn't understand what conscience meant, so I asked again. Marcus wasn't happy marrying me. Marcus was peeling an orange. Hearing me, he slipped a segment into my hand. He was happy. He tracked down your whereabouts just to marry you. He was just the clumsiest back then and couldn't see his own feelings clearly. Listlessly, I said, "But I'm not worth loving." "No, our sweetheart is the best sweetheart in the world. Everyone loves her." "You're lying to me. Marcus doesn't like me." "He likes you, he loves you." This repetitive conversation repeated countless times every day. Until finally I couldn't sit up anymore, and Marcus would just lean by my bedside, repeating it over and over, until all the autumn leaves had fallen. I fell into a deep sleep that deep winter. Marcus's extra, in fact, the day she transferred, it wasn't the first time Marcus had seen Luna. He had seen her the day the family moved. A small, slender girl, munching on a cookie, had barely taken 2 bites when her own mother started chasing and hitting her. Her bangs were so long, and her head hung low, he couldn't tell what she was thinking, but she looked utterly pitiful. Marcus's mother saw it too, sighing, "The family's gender bias favoring sons is outrageous." I heard from a neighbor that they left their daughter with her grandparents until she was 5, and since bringing her back, they either hit or scold her, making the child timid and submissive. At the time, Marcus just thought Luna was like a little kitten. He never expected that when they met again, she would be like a changed person. Her bangs were all tied back, and her choppy short hair was incredibly stylish. Her eyes were the most striking. Marcus always felt that gaze was familiar, but he couldn't place where he'd seen it before. It wasn't until he got home that evening and was getting ready for bed, looking into the mirror, that he saw his own eyes. His heart couldn't help but tremble. How could such a coincidence exist in this world? From then on, Marcus began to notice her involuntarily. When did he realize his true feelings? Marcus felt it was quite early. When he saw Luna and Finn with their heads together, whispering about something, the jealousy in his heart couldn't stop bubbling up. Even though he'd never been in a relationship, he understood that he was jealous. Marcus wondered how he should confess his feelings. Yet, this girl kept trying to push him towards other people, acting as if missing out on Chloe would be a huge regret. Many years later, when the reborn Marcus disappeared, leaving him with memories from 2 lives, he understood why he always irresistibly wanted to be better and better to Luna. When they were together, they were like friends, like comrades in arms, but never quite like a married couple. Luna had never expressed emotional needs, so Marcus in his previous life never responded, and they lived a hasty and regretful life. Fortunately, he awakened a liar in this life. Fortunately, young Marcus wasn't so awkward. He passionately gave Luna all his love. They argued, got jealous, bickered and played around, just like any sweet couple. When elderly Marcus took over this body, Marcus watched them, reminiscing, walking hand in hand, still gentle, but now imbued with a deep, unbreakable tenderness. The day Luna died, elderly Marcus followed soon after. Before he left, he said, "Thank you." When he opened his eyes again, the room was silent, with only the medical monitors flatlining. Marcus got up and kissed the person on the hospital bed. "I love you, sweetheart."